Welcome back, guys. Sorry we're a few minutes behind, but it's for a good cause. We just needed to tidy up a few things on our end. How has your day been going? Hickox, how's it going?
It is going. Where'd my wife go?
Well, she dipped out and left us holding the bag. So, we have several stories that we want to cover. We saw a story developing where Lindsay Crawford, a woman, I don't know where she's from in the States, but she she ended the lives of her kids. And as bad as that is, we have a few there are mixed signals going on out there that we want to look into. The hearings are currently going on as we speak. Um, there's medical experts. Her mom has testified, and there's a lot of stuff going on. Meanwhile, on social media, the jury or the court of public opinion somehow thinks that she should be given over $700,000, and the blame for the incident should be passed on to her ex-husband, who has since been remarried. I think that's the news that I heard today. And they somehow want it to be his fault that she lined up three of her kids, ended them, and we're supposed to think that she's the victim in all of this. So that is the developing story that we are stepping into just to talk about it, to open up the conversation. And we want to know what you think. And then we ran into a conversation while we were preparing, and we feel like it's something to discuss, and that is the right to repair. A few weeks ago, I watched a briefing where Trump signed an executive order essentially giving Americans the right to repair their own vehicles because auto companies had somehow gotten it into their heads that if they sell you something, they can take away the right to repair that thing so you can stretch out the lifespan of said thing. So
Well,
there's a
I
lot to
wouldn't
get
say
through.
it's just the auto industry. Those are the ones with the biggest thing. Just to put it out there, it's growing commercial wide across many different forms. So we'll be getting into that later.
Yeah. So those are the two main stories, and then we're going to be, of course, we're going to be jumping into several rabbit holes that are connected to our conversation. So
We're good
thanks
at
for
rabbit
hanging
holes.
out with us. Hickox Dragon is here. She said something while we were prepping, and I just lost it. I was like, okay, I'm not. I'm going to let
There's
her.
Lynn.
If it
Hi,
if it comes
Lynn.
up, hey Lynn, good to see you. Applause. So
Yay!
we don't have we don't have a crew, we don't have a production team that holds up those cards that tells people at the view to clap even when the thing they're clapping about is stupid. Okay, so we don't have that, but I have a button and I'm not afraid to use it.
Button, button,
So,
button.
so yeah, so let's start with the first story, which is a sad story. So we have um a woman, Lindsay Clancy, and it was said that she was suffering from postpartum depression. And I'm glad we have ladies in the house who have had kids and who may understand what she went through. Now, one day she decides that she's going to take her kids down into the basement and end each one of them one after the other by strangling each one. So this post here says, remember this woman was able to strangulate, which isn't a quick bullet to the head type of way to kill a human being, all three of her kids, while calmly speaking to people right before or right after they were murdered. Justice for the Clancy children. This is one sentiment. Now, while while we think that okay, it should be understood that when someone does that to their own kids, it should be it should be disavowed by everyone who has a conscience. And if the woman needs help, okay, let's talk about medical help. If the courts deem her to have been actually out of her mind and is currently out of her mind, let's find help for her. But
Yeah,
the
because
left,
I have a lot to say on that. I can definitely talk to that.
yeah, but the left decides, okay, well, we're going to assume that uh, she needs 728,100. Well, they're actually aiming to raise $2 million for her, and I'm confused. I'm confused because one part of me says, if you see someone who needs help, help them. If you can give, help them. But we've seen too many of these fundraisers where someone stabs someone else at a track meet, and then the person who does the stabbing gets lots of money. Someone does something awful somewhere, that person gets the money. This woman does this to her kids, she gets lots of money. Is society training people to just do bad things and expect to be rewarded? That's what is confusing me. Now, I might sound like I'm naive, and it's true, I might be, but this is beginning to sound really confusing because
Because it is.
um now there's a video. I'm going to play a video. Like this is the target of this asat when shoe on head. Okay, shoe on head says, do you guys know shoe on head?
I've heard from a streamer like Nux, but
No, shoe on head is I like her content. Over 700,000 now raised for a woman who strangled her 3 children to death with exercise ropes. Every single donation is from a woman. Hundreds of thousands of women in a TikTok true crime psychosis where they believe the husband did it because he looks mean. That's
Mm.
is that is the story that is making the rounds. And then there was a video I saw. There are a bunch of people just making videos attacking anyone who thinks that the woman should be
Held
judged,
accountable.
yeah, held accountable. So here's one of them.
The reason all the moms are so obsessed with this case is not because we're bored. We're not busy, and we're not bored. That's not why we're obsessed. We're all obsessed because if one of us were to ever go seek mental health help for whatever reason, it could then be weaponized against us in a court of law to spin a narrative on how we allegedly committed a crime that we so clearly did not commit. And we're all hoping that if it was us, if it was one of us, that all these same women would still stand 10 toes down and say, no, nope, that's not what happened. That's not what happened. That's not how it happened. That's not who did it.
Because you guys were there, I guess. Like you all stood by her window and watched the entire thing happen, I assume. So there's a lot. Okay, yeah. And this is another post. Someone says we need to ban TikTok for women. So
Clearly,
this
because they
TikTok
can't
message.
they can't do things properly. Clearly, they off their freaking rocker.
So this one says that she's about to be jailed for life for something her husband did. If an investigation was carried out, a murder investigation, and they brushed the scene of the crime for prints, swept it for DNA, and the husband's DNA or prints didn't come back, and it was all her. Okay, now are we saying that there isn't a way that someone could be framed? There is, but with the evidence that has been presented, she clearly appears to be the one who did it.
And they're
Now,
already they're claiming that it was postpartum, which I'm not going to say that postpartum's not a thing, and that it doesn't lead women to do awful, atrocious things. Because I mean, I've dealt with postpartum after my kids and stuff like that. I've dealt with it, and I understand that your brain will literally tell you some really, really messed up things. But I sought help from other people when my brain started spiraling. I didn't go out and, strangle my children or drown them in a bathtub or something. So, and it doesn't make any sense. I support the fact that, yes, a lot of people and society looks down on women with like postpartum, not taking it as serious as it should be, like they do with a lot of mental health things, like they do for mental health with men and all of that kind of stuff. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't seek help, especially when you're spiraling that bad.
All right, so let me add in her through children: Cora, age 5; Dawson, age 3; and Callan, age 8 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a video. There's a reel
And
up here of look.
of her babies. And
Like,
postpartum,
this is no one is saying that let's hearing are over and the findings
are
come out.
concrete set in stone and all that
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
yeah.
And
Like it's like I said, I'm confused because it's like we haven't even gotten to the point where we have like all the evidence presented. We don't know everything and anything. And the person who has been arraigned is her, not her husband. And people on TikTok, women on TikTok are saying he did it, he did it. Meanwhile, like, excuse me, how? He wasn't even there.
Hold
And
on, I actually
how?
have some information here. I just looked
he
up.
did it because he wasn't there. That's why. Because he wasn't there. That's why it's his fault.
Well,
I
But if
saw
he was
actually,
there, it would still be. I'm saying satire here.
I know that, but Patrick Clancy, Lindsay Clancy's former husband and the father of her 3 children, was present at the scene when the murders occurred. On the morning of January 24th, 2023, he was running errands when he returned to their Duxbury, Massachusetts home to find Lindsay on the ground outside, covered in blood and unable to move after jumping
Oh,
from a
jeez.
second-story window. He was out doing errands whenever this occurred.
And
And
then
There's
clearly it
they
shows
may,
that she did it because she then attempted suicide, which is a very common thing afterwards. So again, I'm not saying that she wasn't suffering from postpartum because that sounds very clear that that's very likely what was happening.
well,
Um,
this reminds me of the
but
case where the mother in her SUV was trying to well, wasn't trying to. She actually drove her vehicle off into the water because she said that her kids were possessed by demons.
so guys, I have a question, okay? Is there any case where a woman did something like this due to postpartum depression? Like, is there a case
I mean, there have been
where
a
this has
lot of
happened?
cases. I don't know. I mean, Chris or you guys with an actual computer would probably have to look it up, but I know there's been a lot of instances of it.
Where a mother ended the life of her kids because
Hmm.
of postpartum depression?
Hmm.
Then it's a huge issue that
It
needs
is
to
a
be addressed.
monumental issue. It's a monumental issue of postpartum depression. Like I said, I myself suffered from it after kids. And it's not an easy thing to do, and it's definitely not an easy thing to admit or acknowledge because of the stigma that's on it. Like I said, it's the same thing with like men's mental health and stuff like that. There's that stigma on it that if, as a woman, you're suffering from postpartum and you're like, I can't even touch my kid because it feels wrong because it's just something in the way your brain reacted because of massive hormonal fluctuations
Yeah.
that um so I mean, like, there's that stigma that if you admit that you have those feelings that you're a bad mom. And there are people that will use that against you. I'm not saying that there aren't, but it doesn't make it wrong, and it still makes it wrong to then harm your children.
Lynn says, I checked myself into the hospital when I had feelings of hurting. Nice way to say it. The doctor The doctor
butchered
who
me and
butchered
my
me and my 10-pound son when he was born, had many surgeries to repair what he. Oh, jeez. I
see, and
felt.
again,
I
that's a
felt.
whole other thing.
Yeah.
I felt what was happening to me and went and got help right away. And women's health, especially, is not taken seriously for a lot of cases, a lot of
Yeah.
instances, especially their reproductive health and
Mm,
you know, post delivery, post childbirth, and stuff like that health. A lot of that's really honestly not taken seriously, and that's a worldwide thing
mm,
that needs to be addressed. It's a societal thing that needs to be addressed because it does lead to instances like we're seeing here where this woman, unalived her children due to things like that. And again, I can't say 100% that it was postpartum, but a lot of the signs are pointing to that's what it was because postpartum's not just a right after. You could be perfectly fine, like I was with my oldest daughter, my daughter when I had her. I was perfectly fine until about the 4 month mark. Then I got hit with postpartum so bad I didn't even want to look at her.
wow.
Every time she cried, it made me violently angry to the point that I had to leave. And
Mm,
honestly, if it weren't for my parents and my brothers and stuff like that being there to help me, I mean, I honestly don't know what would have happened. So it's a very real thing. And it doesn't always hit right after birth. It can hit all the way up to, I think, like 2 years after birth
mm,
because your hormones are still in such a fluctuation,
yeah.
and that greatly affects mental health.
So
Yeah.
I was actually able to find several cases.
I told you there's a
Um,
lot.
so the first one we have is Andrea Yates from Houston, Texas, of 2001. 5 children. Andrea suffering from postpartum psychosis, severe depression, and schizophrenia. Drowned all 5 of her children in a bathtub. She believes she was having saving
Wow.
from eternal damnation, reflecting hallucinations and delusions induced by psychosis.
And what Tony
She.
said, postpartum is a problem, yes, but does it give you a reason? No, it doesn't make what you did right by absolutely no means. Um, Absolutely not. You definitely shouldn't. And like I said, I myself have experienced it and got the help I needed to not harm my children. So it's definitely something that can be addressed and helped. Plenty of women have dealt with it. Plenty of women have sought help, whether
Yeah.
it be via medication, support groups, what have you. Um, so it doesn't give you like an excuse or a reason that makes it okay at the time for the women suffering with it. It does give you a reason. Logically, in your mind at that time, it makes 100% sense of they're possessed by demons or they're wrong or I'm saving them by doing this. In your mind at that time, yes, it is a 100% valid reason in your mind at that time. Is it
Yeah.
right?
Now,
Absolutely not.
this is the part that, like I said earlier, I'm confused because this should be a simple case of, okay, let the courts do their job, but people are trying to make it political.
They
They're trying
are.
to make it political, and for me, like, this is what freaks me out. With the way things are going in the political space and in media and everything, because no one is talking about the terror and the fear those kids went through. No
Exactly.
one
I
is
mean, how
talking.
terrifying is that to watch your mother like strangle all your siblings?
Like Lady Gravemaster wrote something here, and I'm not sure, like, I want to read it because it's horrific, just because she goes into the minds of what could have been going on in the minds of those kids. Their dad is out of the house, and the only person that they could scream for is
Is
out of
their
the
mom.
house. Is their mom,
But
but she's the one
it
harming them.
it's a screwed up psychological thing because in
You know?
kids' mind, mom is safety, mom is protection, mom is the comfort. So seeing that naturally their instincts would be to reach for mom to help, regardless of
Yeah,
the fact that she's the one doing the damage.
yeah,
And it's a terrible, depressing, tragic situation. And I genuinely, truly feel absolutely awful for those children and that husband. because he lost all of his children. And regardless of whether it's his ex-wife or not, I have an ex-husband. I do not get along with the man as far as a relationship goes. We have plenty of issues, but I don't want anything bad to happen to the man,
Yeah.
you know? So he lost all of his children. Now he has to watch the
Jeez.
woman that he once had feelings for, clearly, that he was married to, had children with, now be put on trial and everything like that. There's that weird bittersweet of, she's facing the consequences, but
Yeah.
also he's losing her too.
Yeah. And I'll be
Well,
honest. And let me be honest. Okay. Like looking like this side profile of her face. Okay. Looking at her eyes, I think she's genuinely remorseful from what I can see. From what I can see,
Yeah, I'd have
it
to actually
appears like
watch her talk about it to really tell, but yeah.
well, the hearing is going on, but I don't think they've put her on the stand. They've had a bunch. They've had her mom on. Like there are people who are speaking. I don't know if she's going to be able to speak because I think I'm going to bet. I'm going to
That
bet
her
that
attorneys are going to try and
her
keep her off the
yes
stand at all
yes
costs.
yes because the prosecution is going to shred her.
Tear her
they
apart,
will
yeah.
they they will shred her because they want that prosecution under their belt, which is their job.
Yeah,
My concern is if she's going through postpartum depression, she didn't get the help that she needed. She succumbed to the pressure to do
that
that,
darkness, yeah.
and then like that's why I say it's confusing. I didn't think that this story was going to go this far, but trying to genuinely understand what happened, with this case.
well, let me also add in here. Each one of these cases, and I'm going to predict this one for this one as well. Every single one of these that I'm looking at, which is a total of 7, not including the one that's on your screen. Every single one of them was found in GRI, not guilty by reason of insanity.
Yeah. Okay. So Tony sent a video. I don't know if I should. Okay, let me play it from my end.
While you're
Um.
doing that, and I can understand the not guilty by reason of insanity, because again, postpartum truly does, it breaks the mind.
Yeah.
And there are women that suffer with it for decades after their children are born, that they are
Yeah,
never able to form those connections with their children. And it truly is a mental break. So I can absolutely understand it, of why they would be potentially found guilty, not guilty by reason of insanity. But that doesn't mean that they don't face consequences, because if they're found not guilty by reason of insanity, which is why we need asylums and stuff back, they don't need to be back out in society.
well, I see. I'm going to be opposite with you on that. In my honest opinion, if you take a life like that, like I can understand self defense and whatnot, but if you take a life like that, then your life is forfeit. We don't need you.
Again, it's that weird thing of, again, this is why we differ, because I'm a woman. I see more things, I see things a bit more empathetically, and I don't cross into that suicidal empathetic part. But I understand that with mental health, you genuinely, they, like, when they're truly mentally ill, they genuinely do not understand what they're doing is wrong.
Doesn't matter. Whenever it's wrong, it's wrong.
It, you and I
I,
are never going to agree on that, so I'm just going to stop.
All right. If you're watching and you want to get into the conversation, just post your questions or your thoughts in the chat. We will read everything. Okay, we're gonna try. So, Tony sent this video, and hey, you guys, if you want to send content or a video, join the Discord. The link is in the description of this video, or if you need us to share the link in the chat, we will. Tony sent this link, and he's essentially he says this gentleman gave some compelling explanations. Tony says, let Dr. G help with some of this. So let's see.
Hey everybody, Dr. G here. I'm a clinical and forensic psychologist as well as a body language
I want to turn
expert.
the
And
video down
today
a bit.
we're going to be doing a deep dive into Lindsay Clancy's defense. Before we get started with this, a couple of quick things. One, I wanted to make sure you know this is not a psychological evaluation of any kind. These are just my opinions. In addition to that, I do want to remind you to like and subscribe if you
I want to turn it down a bit. He's like really close to the mic, so it's blaring.
Okay. So tell me if this is good.
want to see more content.
Is that good?
That's perfect.
Just like this. All right, let's go. Lindsay Clancy is currently on trial for the murder of her 3 young children, and today we're going to be doing a deep dive into the defense's argument. Now, I recently did a video analyzing the behavior, psychology, and body language of some aspects of this case, but I thought I needed to do a follow-up video because I see so many people completely confused by her motive, by her behavior, and seem to think that the husband was involved. We're going to talk about all of these things today.
So you guys feel free to chime in at any point, okay? It's good for protecting us from claims and stuff because of fair use, transformative content, and all that jazz. So just feel free to chime in at any point that you feel like you want to say something about his position.
Yeah.
Today, I'm going to try to give you as much clarity as possible because there is so much that people do not seem to understand about this case, particularly the psychological aspects of it. All right, let's just jump right in. For whatever reason, there seems to be a lot of questions from people about whether or not Lindsay Clancy did this at all. I'm going to show you a little bit of her civil suit so you can see in her own words exactly what she did to eliminate any question whether or not she was actually involved with the murders of her children. Then after I read this, I'm going to help you understand why this argument right here creates a lot of problems for the defense. Now, this is an excerpt from a civil suit that was filed against some of the doctors involved with her treatment. I'm going to read it to you. I'm going to explain what the problems are. Lindsay experienced command auditory hallucinations. A demanding, powerful male voice explicitly ordered her. She felt an overwhelming, irresistible compulsion to comply, entering a dissociative, dreamlike state where her physical actions felt utterly disconnected from her conscious volition. She perceived her body was just acting, and she was merely watching herself do it. She reported she had no choice but to follow these compelling directives. Lindsay described, "I lost all control. My body started acting without any control on my part. I was just following commands. All action. This voice demanded action." Lindsay proceeded to strangle each of her children, uttering, "Go to God, baby." She then jumped out a second-floor window and suffered catastrophic injuries as a result. So to me, it is crystal clear that she acknowledges that she is the one who did this. Now, I know there are, as I said before, there are a lot of questions about the husband. There are questions about the timeline and where emails were sent from. I've seen all of these questions. But until the question is
hold on a
answered
second.
of why did she...
She
Fucking
admitted
phone.
that she did all of those.
Yeah.
If I'm correct, by reason of insanity, I well,
Well, the symptoms that she described in those notes clearly depict some form of psychotic break that the doctors who were treating her should have picked up on. I guess that's what they're trying to explain.
yeah, no, I still don't. Honestly, I have no sympathy for her because that right there, sh- she had control, whether she says she didn't or not. So yeah,
Again, I'm going to disagree with you on that. When you have true like when you encounter truly psychotic people that have true psychosis, they genuinely do not have control over that. I have encountered them as patients. I have spoken, like I said, when I got support groups and talked to other mothers that suffered from postpartum and things like that. You truly do not. Your brain has completely disassociated from it, and your body does what it wants to do essentially, based on that psychosis, on that break. Again, I'm not saying that she should not be held accountable, that she is not guilty or anything like that. I am simply pointing out that mental health truly, absolutely does play a huge factor in this. I do not think that the dad, from my understanding of any of it, I don't think that he did it or anything like that. So those people saying that, um, you know, he had anything to do with it. But there are such things as true psychotic dissociative breaks, where the body is doing something while mentally you are screaming to not do it.
Yeah. Tony says you can't claim insanity unless you actually don't know what you're doing. You don't know what is good or bad. Well, again, like what we should aim for is to understand. Like, I'm really struggling to understand this because for guys, I'll tell you the truth. For guys, we have a hard time um, feeling any sympathy for guys who claim that an outside force made them do something. It doesn't mean that those things don't actually happen, but most guys feel a strong sense of control over their actions.
Yeah.
They feel a very strong sense of agency, and saying that someone else was responsible for a decision you made doesn't seem to pass the smell test for a lot of us. And many of us hold ourselves accountable for our actions. We
Oh,
own our actions,
yeah.
trying to pawn it off as something else made me do it. And that is guys dealing with
And
other guys. Okay.
yeah,
We do
and
that a lot.
as a woman, again, I can say you're absolutely accountable. Yes, you had a psychotic break, whatever, that prompted the action. In this case, killing her kids. But you are still accountable for that because you felt the buildup, you felt the lead up. So
Yeah.
you were the one that chose not to seek out the proper help, not seek out
Yeah.
the support, not tell anyone. So you are still ultimately 100% accountable for what you did. I'm simply stating at the fact that with a true, psychotic break of that, and like I said, with having dealt with it myself, I would get unreasonably just angry just hearing my child cry, and all she
Yeah.
wanted to do was have her mommy hold her. But I was like, if I touch her, I know I'm going to do something I cannot take back.
Yeah.
So I myself chose to be accountable for those thoughts and removed it, like removed myself from the situation and sought help.
Yeah.
So it can be done. So that's all I'm stating is
Yeah.
the fact that,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
I think somehow we all come down on the same side of things, but it's just how we get there. Or, some of us just say, "Look, total BS. She knew she deserves it," and on the
the
other side,
way
it's like,
the way I describe it is men are linear, like they're the dry spaghetti noodles. Women are the
ah,
wet spaghetti noodles, and we're just like we loop and wiggle and go back and forth and still come up to the same end. But we're the wet pasta. We're the cooked
yeah,
spaghetti noodles, and you guys are the uncooked spaghetti noodles. So that's
yeah,
why
yeah.
we
That's
get to the
fine.
same point, but it's a little more. There's more into it for us.
Uh, yeah, we're going to keep listening, guys. Let's know your thoughts in the chat because this is a very I can't believe we're still talking about this story. I thought it was going to be like a cut and dry. Who did it? Okay, it's boring. Let's move on. But I think the spirit of this story kind of also shows the some of the difficulty that people are facing in real life, IRL, with life, with giving birth, the effects of giving birth, different things happening, psychotic breaks happening, and no one is paying attention because women or because men. And then something goes wrong, and people are like piling on. One group is like, how does this fit my political narrative? The other group says, well, this is what I think, and therefore I'm going to throw a bunch of money at this. Like, it's really confusing.
Yeah,
I'm really struggling personally right
like
now. I'm really
Tony
struggling to
said.
just
Like Tony just said, being upset is fine, angry, upset, and emotional is granted, but she knew what she was doing, which is guilty. And yes, she is absolutely guilty, in my opinion. Absolutely. I'm just saying, I can understand from the female perspective, which you
yeah,
guys unfortunately will absolutely never be able to understand completely.
So
that
true.
I can understand where the break comes in and what led her to do it.
Yeah.
I still don't think that she should get away with it or get any type of money out of this situation or anything like that. So, I mean, like, she's 100% guilty, but I can understand the psychological, the emotional, the mental break that comes with things like that. So I can understand it, but I still don't agree with it.
Yeah, see, for me, I would have to say that, well, my viewpoints on it is way darker. Again, if anybody, regardless if it was the mother or the father, because there are times where uh, the father lashes out, right? And he ends up doing something that he cannot fix. And yeah, there's no insanity for him. You knew what you
Oh,
was
yeah,
doing.
that's a double standard. Yeah, there's absolutely a 100% double standard because if the dad had done this, they would have been lighting their pitchforks, tying him up, setting up the pyre, lynching him, and lighting him on fire.
And then have the court case.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
At the
Exactly. This
end of
man would have already
everything.
been, yeah, this man would have already been hung out to completely dry
Yeah.
and like then lit on fire and then resuscitated and lit on fire again. Absolutely. There's a 100% double standard for that. Dudes
But what
couldn't
I was
ever get away with a case like this.
but what I was trying to say is, yeah, it's exactly that. But regardless, think about it. If they ever let these women back out in public,
Oh,
she's
and
gonna
then
be
heaven
walking
forbid,
around. She's gonna be walking around with the death of her children sitting above her head as
Mm.
if it's a gigantic sign, right? There's no way to
Oh,
come
jeez.
back into the public on that. So yeah, my point is
oh yeah, and then
you
she's going to
do
be
something
far
like
more.
that, right? I was gonna say if anybody does anything like that, we just need to get rid of them, right? And honestly, my expression on that goes as far as those people that they want to use abortion as birth control. Nah, at that point you're using it like that. You're a murderer. We need to get rid
Yeah.
of you as well.
So Tony just said something, and he goes, "I have 3 sisters, 3 adult daughters. I felt the brunt of women's postpartum. Does it make me not understand it?" Yes and no. Yes and no, because you can understand it from the male's perspective of dealing with women in that instance. The psychology of being in that actual mind, in the female mindset, again, because we are a far more emotional critter than men are. Um, no, no, you'll again, guys can never understand it, just like I can never fully understand what it's like to be a guy and to have the pressures of what men face in daily life. I will absolutely never understand it. I can understand to the best of my ability. I can, understand the pressures of providing for a family like I do, but I will never understand the pressures of being a man, just like men will never understand the pressures of being a woman, which is another reason why I absolutely despise those trans women that are saying they are women because they do not understand the 100% pressures or the whole psychological aspect of being a woman. A whole other tangent. But so, yes and no. You can absolutely understand what it's like to live with someone that's dealing with it, to help someone through it. Absolutely. Chris understands this. Hickok's there. He understands it because he's dealt with me for it. And like, you absolutely feel it. But it's not the same as living it.
And I can honestly say I've been 3 women, dealt with it. It's some are more crazier than others, but depends on their craziness levels, how far it goes.
We'll read this comment from Tony and then keep the video going because there's stuff we're missing out on. Tony says, "I could see the emotion and fully felt it. My ex-wife was wild. I think I do. I think we can. We just handle it differently. Well, let's."
That's exactly my point, though. You handle it differently because you're programmed different. So that's why I'm saying you can understand it. You absolutely can understand most of it, but never fully, because men are
Yeah.
programmed to handle things differently than women are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's just how we're biologically built.
Yeah. This story, personally is has captured my interest. It's like, yes, it's a horrible thing, but it's almost like trying to unpack the entire scenario and everything. Well, let's listen to him and then see what else we learn from the court documents.
Claim to do this if she didn't. Until she recants this or says none of this is true, then why would we truly question whether or not Patrick Clancy was involved? I get there may be some weird things that should be looked into, and law enforcement, if they so choose to look into it, so be it. But why is it that people are dismissing this? She gives explicit detail about what she did. These are her own words, saying that she was strangling them, saying literally, quote, "Go to God, baby." That is exactly what she claims she said. So as people continue to have issues with Patrick Clancy, keep in mind, she has in detail explained this. And just to be extremely clear, there is a 0% chance that Patrick Clancy could have somehow convinced her that she did this when she did not. I don't care how many medications she was on. That is not possible. That's not at all how the psychology of the brain works. I feel very definitive about that. There are other things about this where I might not be so definitive, but I am 100% clear on the fact that Patrick Clancy did not hypnotize her and make her think she did this, if that's what people are theorizing. Because I don't know how you can reconcile this claim with the idea that he's the one who did it, unless you think they did it together and she's just the fall guy. You want to try to make that argument, go for it. But there's no chance that she was not involved and she thinks that she's the one who did it. That makes no sense. This picture right here is a great example of some of the evidence people are talking about related to Patrick Clancy. They're saying that he's wearing different shoes here and here. And while I can certainly acknowledge the shoes do look different, and people are saying because he changed the shoes, that must mean something nefarious, the quality of these videos is so bad, I'm not convinced that you can actually distinguish whether or not these are the same or different shoes. His hair looks like it got changed as well, which obviously it didn't. His face also looks quite different because the quality of these cameras is so different. So is there something to him changing shoes? Are these the same shoes? That will be worth exploring if she ever recants the fact that she actually committed these murders. Now, in my last video, I distinguished between hallucinations and delusions because it's extremely important that you understand those if you're going to make sense of all of this, because I've seen over and over again, people do not seem to understand psychosis. Even professionals I've seen talking about it do not seem to understand psychosis. And just to be clear, many years of my training were at an inner city hospital dealing with people
Hey,
that
let
had
me add in
persistent
something real
mental
quick.
illness. I have.
So we're talking about the husband. For the rest of this report, it says Patrick Clancy immediately called 911 and went into the house where Lindsay allegedly told him their children were in the basement. The police and paramedics entered. Patrick was seen with the 3-year-old Dawson, and he reportedly screamed, "She killed the effing kids," to the officers.
Oh man.
Yeah, and again, like especially considering the fact that she laid out that she did it. Again, there's a certain obvious psychological issue or concern there, but in my like the way I'm seeing it from my perspective, she knew what she was doing. Again, she may have had in her mind, there may have been a perfectly logical reason for her in her mind with her psychosis saying, why she had to do it kind of thing, whether it was the delusions or, hallucinations or what have you. But she is still 100% guilty and needs to absolutely be held accountable for that. Because, I mean, like I said, I've transported patients that were like, there's a purple elephant on your truck with us. They're going to smash us. And again, I know 100% there's not a freaking purple elephant on my damn ambulance. But to them, there is absolutely 100% a purple elephant on my ambulance.
Yeah.
I can't change their mind on that. I can't, dissuade them from there's not a purple elephant, trying to smash us. Okay. To them, it's absolutely real. 100%. Does it make it right? Absolutely not. But to them, it is 100% right.
Right. Can I keep going?
Yes.
Hold on.
A lot
So
of
I
Damn
actually,
it, Christopher.
hang on, because I actually wanted to add this in here because this is very touching. So it's one of the reports from the courtroom of the paramedic or
Mm.
nope, the officer that ran into the house. Um, his testimony on the court stand is, I heard a loud scream from outside. Duxbury police officer
Oh,
Stephen
wow.
Hall testified. He and another officer ran into the house and down to the basement where they found Patrick Clancy
Jeez.
with Dawson. Patrick Clancy looked up and screamed, "She killed the effing kids." Officer Brian Josephine testified on Thursday. My first instinct was to kind of grab Dawson's head and tilt it to the side to see if I can get a pulse. But I
Mm.
mean, based on my training and experience from previous incidents, I knew this wasn't going to be good. Based on my observations, I knew there wasn't really much I could do.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's another part to it, but that's kind of graphic, and I don't want to put anybody into a sour mood.
Well, more than we already are. It's,
If you
um,
want me to, I can, dude. This is describing the children.
Mm, mm, yeah.
So it's all up to you.
is it graphic? Kind of.
If you have to hum,
Okay,
then
share.
yes.
Okay, okay. Share the link in the Discord. Anyone who wants it can go there and take a look at it. We should have a
This,
Discord version of these conversations because YouTube. So let's just. Oh man,
yeah,
this sucks.
this is from what they witnessed whenever they got there, um, describing the children's bodies.
Yeah, that's a
Uh,
little graphic for YouTube. Let's not.
yeah. All right. So just put it on the Discord. Just link it to the general group. Or I think you can just put it in there, and then we'll just grab it and take a look. It's like I said. This is confusing, and let's just listen to this guy.
Talking about it, do not seem to understand psychosis. And just to be clear, many years of my training were at an inner city hospital dealing with people that had persistent mental illness. I have a lot of experience working with people with serious mental illness, psychosis, and so forth. So this is an area that I have worked in extensively. Now, I do want to be very clear. I have not evaluated Lindsay Clancy. This is not an evaluation of Lindsay Clancy. I'm not providing a diagnosis, but I'm going to tell you about other people that have committed similar acts, and I'm going to help you better understand why they did it, because it might give you some clarity on the type of motivations people would have to do acts just like this, so it can maybe make a little bit more sense. Mothers killing their children, while quite rare, has been studied for decades. Now, the number one reason for mothers killing their children is what we refer to as altruistic filicide. This accounts for 56% of mothers who murder their children, or at least according to one study, it was 56%. Altruism is acting on what you believe is the best for somebody else rather than yourself. Filicide is when someone murders their own child. So altruistic filicide is when somebody murders their own child believing that they are protecting them, that they are saving them. For some reason, they believe that that is the right choice. Now, the problem with this case is that they have not tried to make this claim, but it is, in my opinion, the one that certainly makes the most sense. And that would be a clearly delusional way of seeing the world. A normal delusion might be, but the defense has not made this claim, that the children could not survive without her. That if she was to die, the children would be miserable. They could never survive. They would never feel love. They are better off with her killing them rather than them living a life where their mother has died. That can be a delusional way of seeing the world. So when you look at a case like this, and this is part of her journal that they had published, when you look at a case like this and she's making statements like, I am strong, I am brave, I will get through this, I am a great mom, I love my kids, I love my family, I love my life, that somebody could make these claims and then make the choice to murder their children, it seems incompatible, because this is someone who is saying they love their children. She also talked about the fact that she didn't like sleep training, that she wasn't able to rescue her children, that she couldn't save her child from being upset when they were waking up alone, and so on and so forth. That may sound like it's incompatible with somebody who murders their child, but through a distorted enough lens, that's actually exactly why they would be doing it, because they believe they're rescuing their children. Let's go back to the claims that were made in the civil lawsuit. Now, I'm going to take a second to help you understand what psychosis is. I know we're talking about postpartum psychosis, but let's just talk about psychosis in general. It comes in a variety of different forms, but the cornerstone of psychosis is delusion. It is believing that the world is different than it really is. It's having beliefs that are not based in reality. Now, hallucinations can come with that. There's all sorts of other symptoms that can come with it, but true psychosis is building a world, a mental world around yourself that is not consistent with the real world. That is what really matters when it comes to psychosis, and people have not focused on that anywhere near enough in this trial, in my opinion. And just to clarify the difference between a hallucination and a hallucination is a sensory experience that is not based on the real world. Hearing, seeing, feeling something. There's a variety of different ways people can hallucinate, but it is not based on real world stimuli around you. And a delusion is a fixed false belief. It is a belief that is fully ingrained, fully resistant to you challenging it. So you go up to somebody with a delusion and you say, you know what? That's not based in reality at all, and I have proof. Doesn't matter. That will be impenetrable. No amount of proof that you have will affect a delusion. So that's what's important to understand about this. In the lawsuit, it says Lindsay proceeded to strangle each of her children, uttering, "Go to God, baby." Now, does that sound more like somebody who believes they are being altruistic or somebody who has no control over what they are doing at that time? Now, once again, only she can say what her belief was, but if her belief was she's no longer going to be there for them and she was distorted enough to believe that this was rescuing them, then there might be some sort of case to be made. But this isn't what the defense is claiming. They're claiming that she had command hallucinations that forced her to do it. And psychologically, that just isn't really consistent with what we know about command hallucinations, what we know about volition, what we know about choice. To me, that just doesn't make sense. To me, one of the most unfortunate aspects of the claims being made in this case is that it affects people that have real mental health issues. When you have people that are afraid that they might do something like this, that they're going to lose control, you have to understand people can have a delusional belief system where they make bad choices, but people do not lose control of their own bodies and do things that are entirely against their will. That's just not how the human mind works, at least not without something like PCP, not without some sort of serious traumatic brain injury or something else external. Internally, this is not going to happen. You are not going to force your body to do things that you don't want to do. So cases like this with claims like this make anxious people more anxious because then they think, oh, it's a possibility this could happen, when it truly is not. So can somebody commit murder or do something equally tragic based on a distorted worldview, based on delusions they have? Absolutely they can. Can they be forced to do that? Can their body force them to do it while they are not behind the wheel and they're just along for the ride? No, that is really not how that works. So there is a claim in this filing that really doesn't fully make sense to me, and it fully affects the way that everything else is seen throughout this filing. So I'm going to read this to you, then I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. After starting Seroquel, I won't get into what all these medications do, I feel like.
Go back 2 pages.
Yeah?
No. The court papers.
Back to where he was before or just
Yeah.
here?
Back to where he was before.
Oh, let's see. This one?
One more. Right there. So, one second. There we go. So he was talking about the only way that this could possibly happen is external forces, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you actually look in here, at Cora's birthday party on January 7th, 2023, Lindsay was not herself. She smiled but could not converse. She avoided talking and could not make sense of what others were saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then Lindsay's hallucinations resumed within 1 week, and the doctor had to change her medication. That right there tells me whenever a person gets like that, they're over medicating.
Mm.
And from this report that I've got over here, it says, where was it? She was struggling with anxiety, insomnia, and her use of psychiatric medications. So, what does most people do whenever they're taking medication and it doesn't seem to be working?
They take more medication.
Or they
The psychi-
self-medicate with other things such as, drugs, alcohol, and stuff like that.
The only problem is with the medication that she has, it's most likely what was the cause of the hallucinations. One of my uncles, God rest his soul, he had gotten into a car wreck, was taking painkillers, right? The painkillers were not helping, so he was taking a bit more. And I ended up having to drive him home from a job site where he was talking about there were gnomes in the vehicle. And I'm like, you're high off of legal drugs. Yeah, yeah, I'm taking you home and you're going to sleep this off. Um, but that can happen. So, and again, it's an external force. If you're going against what a doctor says and over medicating, you're you're doing it on your own to make those choices, and whatever happens afterwards, that's on you.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with smoking any type of drugs, drinking alcohol, and then getting behind the wheel. You're liable. But I wanted to point that out because most people never even read that, and I was sitting here reading it.
And
Well,
I
that's
think
why we have you.
right, and I think we all agree at the fact that, she's absolutely guilty. I mean, I honestly think that. I mean, even, with Tony in there in the chat and us and all that kind of stuff, I think we honestly all agree that she's guilty. That we're not arguing that fact at all. It's
Yeah.
just more of why she did it, I think, is
Yeah.
really kind of where it's all coming in. And again, not saying that, she didn't have control over herself, but, she had such strong issues, delusions, what have you, that it made sense to her is all I was pointing out for any of that, is that to her it made sense. That there was some reason that it made sense to her to do what she did.
Oh yeah. Also, to add on to that point, so this is not graphic. Uh, However, she before she jumped out of the window, apparently she did cut herself on her neck and arms. It looks like, and first responders found that those were non-fatal, meaning they was not deep enough,
Mm.
and so she threw herself out of the second story window.
All right.
So what it tells me is she was scared to actually pull that off. So you can't stop yourself from falling.
This is a weird story. For me, it's a weird story for me, maybe not for anyone else, but it's weird for me. Yes, she did it. But I think the part that is messing this up for me is the fact that uh for some people it's become political.
Yeah,
It's now
it,
like it's now more like, oh, let's say the man did it because men are awful and bad and he
men are
looks
mean.
mean, or the woman, is just being a woman, and she's over medicated. Like, can't life just be more nuanced? Like, she was clearly struggling. Her struggle wasn't properly managed, and now she did something horrible. Can't it just be something that simple? And then we can all learn from it to say, okay, if you know someone who's struggling with something like this, you need a community to come around them. Okay. Back 100 years ago, when people didn't live in cities and get so separated from family, families were all together. And if something happened, and if someone gave birth, the family, the community came around them and helped them. So like can't it just be like I give up? Like sorry, I got a private message from Hickox like reminding me that it's almost an hour and we're still on one topic.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna be making it to the others unless we go way over.
Well, okay, guys. I think we've heard the conclusion that we needed to hear from Dr. G. Clearly, her mental health situation was long-standing. The notes are from 2022. I think the murder happened last year or it's recent. I don't know when it happened, but this has been going on for a while. So clearly, she did it. Everyone trying to rope the husband in is wrong. The people who are sending her money, I'm sure a group of them are just being genuine and just want to help her because this is a real issue. The postpartum depression situation is real. And I don't think it's something where we draw camps and say, we don't understand postpartum depression, therefore it's not a thing. I don't think that's the conversation that should be had right now. Like the woman who we played her video earlier, trying to, like, people are drawing camps, and that's not the point of, for me, it's not the point of this conversation. Children are dead. A woman who loved her kids but was struggling did it. A husband who loved his wife and kids is grieving and has to testify against the woman he loved.
Oh, and speaking of which, they're trying to say that ex-husband, he didn't divorce her until afterwards. They were married whenever this happened.
Yeah. So look, how, like, there's no coming back from that. So definitely he got a divorce and moved on. There's no coming back from that. So trying to make this a thing of camps and pushing agendas, for me is despicable. I think anyone who gave money out of a genuine sense of supporting her is fine. Like, it's like, for me, looking at her, she's clearly struggling. The husband, everybody's struggling, and trying to make this a left versus right thing is just wrong. Sorry, guys. Keep talking. I need to take a call.
Let's see. Let's can. Oh no, that is not. That is not. Absolutely. Let's see. Patrick Clancy being involved in this. The only reason that he was directly involved was because he was the father of the children, 3 children, married to the woman, Lindsay Clancy, and was the one that was at the scene of the incidents when are both calling for help and initial discovery of the victims. Honestly, here's what's messed up is there there's a large focus on Lindsay, but honestly the focus should also be on Patrick as well. The man lost his world with his children, and his wife, the woman that he married, trusted with everything, was the one that just took it all away. It's honestly, if I was to see anybody go off of the deep end,
It'll be him.
it would be him. But nobody's focusing on him because why? Oh, well, he's just the man. Yet his wife is now a murderer, and all of his children are gone.
Yeah. I'm trying to put myself in that situation, and that's why I said I'm struggling, because, like, whenever I look at these stories, I try somehow to put myself in their shoes to say, okay, what would I be thinking in this scenario? Even the man on the street interviews that we laugh at, where it's like, how is Trump a convicted felon? I try to see it from their side, and I can't see it, So it's easy to talk about that. But here is like, let's if she has consequences coming, it's because she's on the receiving end of a bad situation with her mental health. It wasn't handled properly, and then she did something. She did something. She did something bad, and then she has to face the consequences for that. Granted, that's okay. But to try and make it anything other than that, in my opinion, should be denounced. And anyone talking, like, all these women that are trying to make it a cultural war issue, it's not. It is a family that has been destroyed. People should stop trying to make it into the next celebrity case that they're going to
No, your
follow.
mic is not working.
Okay, her mic isn't working. Please.
No, I think she's having issues on her end.
All right.
But
Okay.
I
So
could tell
just
you right
Okay.
now. So
There.
okay. It's
Is
there
back
it
that
on.
goes.
Yeah, it's back on.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Stupid phone. Sorry. What
Got
I
it.
was gonna say though is that man absolutely 100% has every right to have a complete mental fucking breakdown, and would be 100% justified. But it also goes to show you where our mental health resources in society are completely botched, because nobody is paying attention to that man. Especially men's
Yeah.
mental health, is
Yeah.
completely pushed to the wayside, because they just, they don't have emotions. They're supposed to be the strong ones, the tough guys. So we
Yeah.
don't care about them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can honestly say if I was ever in that situation, the only thing that would actually make sense was to isolate myself. Literally go out into the middle of the woods and live in a cabin, right?
Yeah.
Just
Right,
shutting
become a true
everything off.
hermit.
Yeah. Uh, my kid you not, so I'm gonna open up a little bit here. My first marriage with my ex-wife, whenever we ended up getting divorced because I found out that she was cheating on me while I was at work. And as the states go, uh, they allowed her to take my son, even though we were married. They allowed her to take our son and not allow me to see him. Okay, I'm not even going to joke with you whenever I say that I had a bottle of Southern Comfort in my hand sitting next to his bed for a couple days straight. I didn't even go to work. It
Mm.
wasn't until I realized that I was killing myself that I threw the bottle away, uh, got myself cleaned up my house, and then I took a 3-day weekend, go fishing, clear my head, get out into the world.
Mm.
Once I came back is whenever I picked up all of the pieces that I had left of myself and was able to start fighting back. But people won't ever understand that or put it out there for people to see.
Again, and it's a huge stigma on men's mental health. Men don't open up like that. Men don't share their stories like that of them breaking. Men don't share it, they keep it locked down. And so it's that stigma of sharing and looking weak, but potentially helping so many others, or keeping quiet and keeping that social norm image intact.
It's because men live perpetually in a hostile world.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We're thrown into conflict over and over again. There's conflict everywhere for men, and you can't afford to show your belly, and I'll be honest, it's like I wish that men could be vulnerable and share more, but we're always in a state of conflict, and
Exactly.
it's a sad thing to say, but it's just true. It's just true.
And that's why, where it comes in, having the right woman in your life, because women are supposed to be men's safe space. We're the ones that, your wife, or when you're young, your mom is the one that you go to for that emotional comfort that the world will not give you. And that's why, and I circle back to the whole thing of, it requires men, a mom and a dad in a household, because
Mm,
I do things for my sons that my husband can't do, but my husband does things for my sons that I can't do, and same thing with our daughters. I'm my husband's soft landing. That's what I'm here for.
yeah.
And so
Yeah, and
yeah, it's
honestly, there's been quite a few times since we've been married that it's actually happened. My uncle that I was talking about that had gotten into the wreck, and he was getting better until one day the pain got too much for him, and next you know he overdosed on his medication. The
accidental
worst part,
overdose.
yeah, the worst part is that my little cousins, his daughter, his son, Came
Yeah.
home and found him face down on the floor. I can still, you can probably hear it now. My voice is cracking because I love the man. But I still remember the day that my mother showed up at my doorstep and told me the news. Uh, I don't typically break down. I broke down that day. And then
I remember
I
getting the
think it
call. I was
was,
just clocking in for work. I remember telling my boss, "Deuces, I'm out," and I went home to him.
and then it was, I think it was last year or maybe the year before. And I get another call, and it was his daughter.
What?
She couldn't handle the stress of it and wound up taking her own
Wow.
life. That was last year.
She
Wow.
she sent all of her money that she had to her brother with a message saying, "I love you." She went out into the shed and
What?
Yep, got her daddy's cordless hole
got.
punch, and
Gosh.
again, it's mental health. Mental health seriously needs to be like acknowledged as something that seriously needs to be addressed. It's a big deal. And that's what leads to these tragedies like this. His cousin, she was 22, 23.
I think she was 23 or maybe. I know she was old enough
And,
to drink.
but, she was 22, 23, and she did that because mental health just was not addressed appropriately.
Mm.
And, this woman, her mental health was not addressed appropriately. So she wound up taking her children's lives. There's so many things that just mental health is not addressed accordingly.
Yeah.
And it leads to such tragedies that could have been avoided if people were truly paying attention to the people around them.
Yeah.
And if, we took mental health care seriously in society.
And honestly, I would even go as far as to say is having mental health days, right? So whenever I was
Hmm.
working in corrections, I made it a point to my supervisors that if they needed me to come in for overtime, that if I had a fishing pole in my hand, because that was my getaway, I'd literally go out for an entire weekend and just go fishing, right? It was relaxing. It got me out of the house. It allowed me to breathe. Uh, I told them if I've got a fishing pole in my hand, there's no use in telling me not to come in because I'm not. That
Yeah.
was my
Mental health
getaway.
days.
Yeah.
See, we even allow those for our kids with school because mental health days are important. My
Mm.
parents, that's what I grew up with. My parents were like, if you truly need a mental health day, come to us and say, you know, I need the day.
Mm.
It should be that way with work, any type of work you do, with school. I mean, honestly, with just life in general, sometimes you just need that mental health day of going, I just need to not exist for this right now. I
Yeah.
need to be able to go and reset, regroup, do whatever I need to do, whether it's fishing or, some people going out to a club and dancing or reading a book or just, not interacting, sleeping, what have you.
Yeah.
Mental health days.
I can even go back. AA, I was telling you that our kids started school week before last, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I kid you not. It was either the 2 days or the day before going back to school. I was having a complete freak out. I'm trying to get everything ready
He
so
was.
that way
He was.
Mm.
they had their school equipment, they had clothes that was washed and ready to go. It's different stuff like that.
Yeah.
I honestly, I've never had to do that, right? I was always the one
Yeah.
that was working. Now I'm here at the house. So, yeah, my wife could have been the one that did it, but I was wanting to do it myself. Guess what? Hey, I found out that is stressful. So, and
Oh
I was
gosh.
literally just like, ugh, right?
And
It
I was
wasn't
Yeah.
sitting
until
there.
she comes over and she literally grabs me and says, "What's the matter?" I said, "I'm stressing out here." And I'm literally blanked, right? Like I am got a million things just flying by my head. And she's like, "What do you need done?" I had told her exactly that. And we worked as a team and was able to get it done. That's what needs to go on.
Yeah.
But you don't see
And,
that.
and again, what he just said right there, that paints a perfect picture of those people that look down on the stay-at-homes
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they do not understand the level of stress that goes into being the stay-at-home. Because
Yeah.
I remember when I was the stay-at-home and he came home and he looked at me and goes, "Why didn't this get done?" And he wasn't doing he was not trying to be malicious or cruel about it or anything like that. But I just kind of looked at him like I gave him that look of like, "Are you effing retarded right now? Like, do
She
you
gave me
not
that
realize?"
"I'm going to kill you" look. All right, I'm just going to murder you with my eyes.
It really was because I was just like, "Are you freaking like you have to be joking right now?" Because I was like, you don't understand. And then when he became the stay at home, like 6 months later, after he'd become the stay at home, I came home from work and I was picking on him because I could see that he was in that exact point that I was. So I look and go, "Why didn't this get done?" And then he starts listing off all the reasons why it fell through. And then, like, midway through his little rant, he stops and goes, "Oh, I am so sorry for every time I ever said that to you."
uh,
And there
oh
was
boy.
quite a few times where she come home and she's like, "Did you do this?" I'm like, "Crap, no, I completely forgot. Hold on."
So, yeah.
Because you got a million other things to do, right? And I
Yeah.
kid you not, right? The kids start back to school. She was off at work. I'm literally walking around the house like, I gotta make lunch for the kids. Wait, kids ain't here. So I'm
Yep.
literally walking around trying to figure out like, the heck am I supposed to do? So what did I do? My wife loves her oven, right? The kids, they love baking, and they ended up tearing up the inside. I kid you not. I spent majority of the time that they was at school scrubbing that damn stove.
Deep cleaning my oven.
Oh.
But yeah,
And then
see,
I called her up. I'm like, "Baby, I cleaned your stove."
but see, that's that's again, it goes to that mental health when you see somebody spiraling, like
Yeah.
he was when he was panicking about the kids getting ready for school. I've gone through that time and time again because that's just typically the mom role.
Yeah.
So again, like for me, it's no big deal. That's literally my norm. But I saw him spiraling, and I acted. I did what I needed to do. I saw that his mental state was not where it needed to be, so I literally had to physically stop him and be like, "What do you need? What is wrong? Take a break. Go drink a cup of coffee. Go do whatever you need to do. I've got it. It's okay." So, taking that mental health seriously is
Yeah.
really just kind of the ultimate bottom line of all of this.
Yeah. So let's just say this because this show basically went somewhere we didn't expect it to. And if you know anyone, if you personally are struggling with your mental health, seek help. Find a community. Okay, hang around people that love you, and find something you love doing that is healthy and doesn't hurt other people.
And
Okay.
even if you don't really know us, I'm here. Reach out on Discord if you can reach me there. I know Hickox. We've had that happen before. People that we only knew briefly. I had a guy message me at like 2 in the morning saying that he was panicking, that he was freaking out, that he was
Yeah.
contemplating doing, ending things.
Yeah.
I didn't really know this man, but I stayed up. I texted him, I everything like that, and then I sent my husband to go talk to him because he needed a man to talk to him because it was a man to man kind of situation. So, reach out even if you don't really know them. People surprise you. Reach out just before anything serious happens.
Jeez, what a show! Like, um,
And
We just turned
honestly,
into a mental
listen,
health PSA.
I'm
yeah,
gonna listen. I'm gonna put this out there. Honestly, I don't trust all these quacks and everything. Yeah, they could prescribe you medication. What you actually
hmm
need is just a regular person to sit down and
yeah,
talk to, be able to talk about
yeah,
your issues.
yeah,
Like my wife says, yeah, if you got something going on, hit us up. I don't mind talking. Right now, if there's some things
Listening,
that you're
what
doing,
have you.
yeah, if there's something that you're doing stupid, I'm gonna call you out on it because I'm just blunt like that. So don't get mad. But if you need somebody for real emotion, talk to
yeah,
my wife, right there. All right. Yeah. If you need somebody to smack some sense back into you, I'm here for you. All right.
Yeah, so you can connect with us on Discord. The link is in the description of this live stream. Hang on, I'm just gonna share the link on the in the chat, because the people who listen on Rumble and Kick and Twitch might not get the same. So I'm gonna share it before the end of the show. But this 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 story is heartbreaking, and I went into it. I went into the story fired up in a different way, because it was more like, who on earth is supporting what this woman did? But after listening to some of the things that have gone on, and just looking at her and listening to the women, Lynn has weighed in on it. Tracy, you weighed in on it. Look,
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, love.
it's always good to sit and have good faith conversations about things. Now, what have we succeeded in doing? We've succeeded in blocking out the insane ones, the people who are just there to make this another true crime drama that they want to speculate that who done it. All right, it's the husband, the guy who literally came back from a chore and saw his three kids sprawled out on the basement floor, lifeless. Is that the guy you want to throw under the bus?
Yeah. Can I also
You know,
say that if you're watching this or following this, please send out like prayers, what have you, whatever you do, to those first responders and those people that had to respond to
yeah,
that.
yeah,
That is an extremely difficult job. I know from
yeah.
personal experience dealing with those things, coming to find out that, especially with kids involved, my brother's an, EMS firefighter, and he just the other day had a 4-month-old
Jeez,
incident.
jeez.
I've had an 18-month-old. I transported the baby. I was sitting there trying to keep her
Gosh,
happy and lovey, to find that, she didn't make it based on her injuries and things. Those
jeez.
are hard things to live with. So please send your heart out and your love and things like that out to those first responders as well, to because we do that every day. That's
Yeah,
that's our that's our 9 to 5 grind. Of, you got, people usually bitching like, oh, they had to deal with a coworker stealing their lunch out of the fridge. Meanwhile, we're over here like, yeah, I responded to somebody not breathing. And
jeez.
so just bear those in mind as well.
Right, I'm gonna go full screen for this bit here, because you know not everything is about politics. Okay, guys. Um, you know, it's we are. In fact, do you know what? I'm just gonna say it. Okay, there's a mental health epidemic, and we have mentally unstable people walking around, and they haven't been diagnosed. They walk around attacking you because of the hat you're wearing, because of who you voted for, and and because of what gender you are or what sex you are. If you're a
What
man,
color
you're
you are.
evil. What color you are, like, it is mental insanity. Okay, we have to come back to having real conversations and not drawing lines. Everything is not about lines. You have to look at a situation and say, hey, this is a mother who was suffering. Something happened. And then tragically, her kids are dead. Her husband is devastated. He is not going to recover from this. He is not going to recover from it. Yes, he's remarried, but he's not going to recover from this. Okay. And I don't know how you could make this into another culture war situation, another, like, both the left and the right, the people on the right who now want to make it a war about SSRIs. There are sorry, SSRIs. There are other people on the left who want to make it all about, okay, well, let's figure out how is the man's fault because the woman is the victim. Look, let's stop this insanity. It's insane. Like, I'm genuinely struggling with this, because this story doesn't have to be another thing that we make a political statement about or make a cultural war
It's
comment about.
the way that's being treated right now is honestly a failure to humanity.
Yes.
It's not a gender thing, it's not a race thing, it's not a political thing. It is a humanity. It is a humanitarian issue. This was humanity's failure, whether it was her failure for not reaching out for getting help, or not saying when something got bad, whether you want to say it was the father's fault for not noticing things had gotten so bad, her parents, her neighbors, babysitters, friends, whoever. It was a human failure of not noticing something getting this bad that led to this, that we were not looking at the mental aspect of what goes into this. Because, like Chris was saying, he was freaking out over getting kids ready for school with clothes and book bags and supplies and lunches and things like that, freaking out over something as simple as that. So, I mean, it's needing to pay attention to that mental health, pay attention to people, get off the phones, and having that screen disconnect with it. Yes, I understand for some people that's all they have, but getting back in connection with humanity, like Lynn was saying the
Yep.
other day when her power went out. She
Yep.
saw more of her neighbors in that 1 hour, those hours that power was out, than she had in months. So, reconnecting with the actual people around you, because there's some things that you can see face to face that you will never see through a screen or a text message.
Yeah.
So I want to add in here talking about Patrick being remarried, right?
Yeah.
So the reason why that is being attacked is because of Lindsay being in court because of this. They're trying to basically say that it was not right for him to get remarried. Several
Heaven forbid
years
he try and move
after,
on.
yeah, several years after this had happened. So, and his new wife is Dr. Rachel Dennis. They got married privately in April of 2026. So this year.
Just a
Um,
few months.
yeah. And this is how bad it is. Patrick's remarriage was first revealed in court on July 23rd, 2026, by Lindsay's defense attorney, Kevin Reddington, during a pretrial hearing. The disclosure came just before Patrick was expected to testify as the first witness in the ongoing murder trial.
So
Reddington said the
basically, they
court
did
was
it to
the
paint him as a POS and make him look bad and discredit him,
yes, yes, and not only
because a
that,
man dared to
apparently,
move on.
yeah, he's being apparently both of them, the couple has faced public scrutiny and the online harassment amid the trial, with Rachel reportedly struggling to cope with the intense attention.
Again, journalists are vultures. They're looking for a
Terrible freaking
story,
people.
and they don't care whose lives they ruin. Okay, so special place in hell for journalists who behave like that. So
Yeah.
they will do
Like the
what
old
they
version
do.
of the paparazzi.
Uh, so again, like I said, this shouldn't be about sides. Like and anyway, we
Tragedy. Just
like we can say the same things over and over till the cows come home. But like Dr. G said, there are people who are so delusional that no matter how much you tell them what they need to know, they will go away with their own conclusions. Like
yeah.
so there's no point. But if you're listening and you're like, hey, you guys are making sense. If you're wherever you're watching, please consider subscribing, liking, sharing this video, and leaving a comment. We like to talk to you guys. I know that there are a bunch of you out there who are shy and don't want to chat, but feel free to put your comments in the chat or in the comments section. Now, we wanted to talk about the situation with the right to repair. Do we have any gas left in us after this very 90
emotional
minutes
and
of
heavy.
talking? 90 minutes of this. I thought we were just going to do 5 minutes. Honestly, I
We've
honestly
been on
thought we were
this
just
for
going
an
to do
hour and a
5
half.
minutes. This is
Hour and a half.
crazy. So guys, the only thing I knew about this case was what I had heard on during a live stream that I was watching while prepping for the show. I was like, okay, this sounds like a story, and I got really concerned when I saw people were sending money to Lindsay. I said, why would they send money to a woman who ended the lives of her kids? And it was like, and there's videos of women saying that, it's the man, and they're making it all about a cultural war. And I was like, okay, let's talk about this and how stupid it is, and just move on in 5 or 10 minutes. And an hour, 30 minutes later, we're still here. It's crazy, but it tells us that this is a real, this is a real human story that is right now being used for clicks. It's just for clicks. And like, I'll be honest, okay? Like, for the duration of this trial, is going to continue to be all about the clicks. Nothing about what this family has gone through, the people who know them, the first responders who showed up and to see that insanity.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
So before we move
I
on,
will
just
say,
one last time.
I was gonna say, hold on one second. I'm glad I'm not a judge. Yeah, I would not let a lot of this stuff go. All right. All right, go,
But
baby.
what I was going to say is just one last time before we transition over out of this topic. If you are struggling or know somebody
Yeah.
that's struggling, please reach out. Don't suffer in silence. Even if you don't really know that person well, if they're just a coworker and you notice that, they don't smile like they used to or something like that, just a simple, hey, how are you doing? Nothing crazy. You don't have to be a therapist, just a simple check-in. If it's if you're the one struggling, just, reaching out to somebody going, hey, just to get a connection. Don't struggle with it alone. Really pay attention to, mental health for yourself, your family, your friends, your coworkers, your kids. Just pay attention to those guys.
Yeah. I want to say thank you to Lynn and to Tony for the comments you guys put in the chat. Tony, for the video you sent over. Thank you so much. Thanks. I just want to say thanks. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out if we have anything in the tank for the right to repair. But Chris, tell us what you found, and maybe we can just quickly talk about it. Maybe that's the story that gets the 5 minutes.
All right, so the Right to Repair Act started because of a John Deere tractor trying to prevent farmers from being able to fix their farm equipment at their own expense. John Deere wanted the farmers to have to either call out a technician or send the tractor in, which costs thousands of dollars.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah. Well, thousands of dollars for transport and all that, and then whatever needs to be fixed or whatnot. So farmers got with the government and sued John Deere, which is now our Rights to Repair Act.
Go on, finish up.
The Rights to Repair Act stopped John Deere from doing this, and John Deere now has to send out manuals and different stuff for their programming to allow farmers to be able to work on their own equipment because they paid for it, they bought it, it's theirs. John Deere has no say-so afterwards.
I remember before that got passed, there were all kinds of videos about farmers that had literally hacked the systems.
And once they did that, they started they started bricking the tractors. I don't know about y'all, but a tractor is one heavy ass paperweight. All right, you definitely don't want it bricked.
And for for farmers and things like that, that is a major investment because those things cost like hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, be in debt for several years just off of one, and they usually run anywhere from 5 to 10.
All right, so this is Trump's Oval Office statement about this situation, and I think he signed an executive order. This was the 29th of June 29th. Oops, I muted the video.
It came to my attention because I noticed they were arresting people for fixing their car. They were arresting people for fixing. That's not even believable. Anyway, so it's right to fix. And I think it's really common sense. If somebody wants to fix, some of these people are better mechanics than the mechanics in the shop. They're telling the mechanic in the shop how to fix their car or their truck.
We
signed the truck one a little while ago. So I'm going to sign this, and I'll be happy about it. We rule by common sense to a large extent.
All right. So this happened on June 29th. Now,
Yeah,
Chris,
so
you were
this
saying that this goes beyond just vehicles. It goes into gaming and so
yeah,
on.
it actually goes a lot further than that. So what Trump is doing here is Ford and GM, General Motors, actually went to him and tried to get him to sign legislation that would make it illegal for people to work on their own vehicles, that they would have to send their vehicles back to the dealership, which is retarded. Everybody knows that the dealership, unless you have money,
Yeah.
you're not sending your vehicle to the dealership, not unless it's under warranty. And this is how the auto industry makes their money, is from the dealership. So they was trying to scrape every little bit that they can, regardless of your financial situation, to have your vehicle sent back to them. Trump basically told them, no, you can't do that. And we know that Trump doesn't drive, but all of his contractors and everything does. So but yes, this has spread even further. If anybody is acquainted with it, Nintendo, with the Switch 2, if you have any third-party accessories onto it or whatnot, they will actually brick your console, which means you will have the object, but it will not work. It has now literally become a paperweight, and they have the legal right to do that whenever they whenever they want to.
Yeah,
Uh,
it goes
Go
into
ahead.
a lot of things. It's like that they're trying to do the forced obsolescence. So that way you have to keep continuing to buy new ones and things like that. That's why they don't want you to be able to repair any of your stuff or do any kind of aftermarket products, whether it be a vehicle, a gaming system, or anything like that.
Yep. Same thing with Apple iPhone. Unless the part for it is a Apple product, it will not work. There is a lawsuit going on, if I remember correctly, about that, to where they cannot. Well, the government is trying to make it so they cannot do that. You're allowed to be able to use third-party product on your own cell phone because you bought and paid for it, right? But they don't want to do that because, oh, well, you're tampering with it. It'd be the same product, just at a cheaper cost. We all know that an iPhone is only made for a few dollars in China. Uh, but it's also the gaming industry, and one that I have had interest in. It was the Sony PlayStation. Uh, Sony is planning on getting rid of physical games come 2027. So I started looking into it and what the background on it. You would think that if you're going to get rid of one product, right, you're going to be saving money from having to spend on making these products. So you would put the money back out towards your customers. That's not what's happening. They're going to keep the prices the same, if not increase them for digital versions, while also making it so if your console, so people that are in dead zones with no internet or very low internet areas, if your console is not hooked up to the internet, they will go in and delete your game. So you go and spend $70 on a video game, guess what? They delete it, no refund. They are steadily pushing people out. I myself just today has canceled my subscription. I'm not going to be after once the subscription runs out. I'm not going to be playing on PlayStation anymore. Uh, this PS5, brand new, very sparkly, right? It'll actually go to my kids. They can play offline, and I'll go and get some disc games that they cannot delete. Uh, it gets ridiculous.
Well, I would say that I think it's a good time to go to Facebook Marketplace to look for people who are selling discs and just buy them up because they're really going to get expensive in the coming
Oh yeah,
days.
like Lynn just said, nowadays for new cars you have to pay for subscriptions just to use features on your vehicle. It's true. You have to
Yeah,
pay for like
yeah,
navigation systems,
yeah.
audio system, like subscriptions and things like that, which is BS. Which is why, honestly, I 100% love my '98 Dodge Durango out of a junkyard and my little $500 Beta Kia Rio that's 2003, because I don't have to worry about a single darn thing of that. I can fix it myself. I can do all the stuff myself, and I don't have to worry about a stupid subscription.
And here's another thing, right? What most people don't understand.
Yeah, heated
Like I was
seats. Let's
telling,
pay for a subscription for heated seats.
right? I was telling AA before the live. Um, I bought my '98 Dodge Durango and a '99 Dodge Durango, both for $1,000 out of a junkyard, and they worked. Right? That's $1,000. Yeah, they're gonna need a little bit of work, but guess what? $1,000 is better than having to pay like 70,000,
Oh,
120,000.
yeah.
Right? I've seen
Cars
some
nowadays are
massive numbers.
$130,000, $120,000, $150,000 for a freaking truck and stuff like that. Yeah, that's ridiculous, dude.
But here's the funny part, right? With the older models, again, I've got a '98. My wife's has got a '03. All of those bells and whistles that people like, guess what? The older models are upgradable. You don't need all of that. You could, I kid you not, on my '98 Dodge Durango, my ignition started acting weird. I literally ran wires from my ignition to my starter, and as all I have to do is turn on the key and push a button. I put a
Yeah,
push start on a '98 Dodge Durango. All right, it's not that hard. You can
but yeah,
have all the bells and whistles you want.
but that's where I was saying, look, the right to fix, like the right to repair act and stuff like that. That's because they're trying to push that same forced obsolescence. That's what they did when, back in like the '50s, the old Maytag wash machines that a generation bought it, and then like 3 generations later they're still using that same washing machine and stuff like that. That's why all of the stuff has expiration dates set to break. That's why they
Yeah.
all require software and stuff like that now, because guess what, I can just tell the software, oh, you're not compatible with this system anymore. So now people have to buy a new one, they have to get new stuff, they have to replace it. It all goes way back in when like light bulbs and stuff like that, because companies were making light bulbs that lasted forever and a day.
Yeah.
And then they realized, oh, we're not making money anymore. So what happens if we just make it where they break intentionally? We set
Same
their
thing with tires
lifespans.
going flat, because there was one company, which you can still buy them. They're expensive, but there are tires out there that nearly don't wear out.
Oh yeah, like the run flats and things like that. Though, yeah, the tires they're expensive as get out, but you pay for quality. So I mean that it's again, it's all the money game for that of you know not wanting them to be able to go repair their own vehicles and do their own things, because well, they're not making money anymore. They're not People aren't going to the dealership because, well, I can have Jim Bob over here that does work in his backyard, does a dang good job, that my dad, for instance, taught me mechanics. If we need mechanics works done, I do it. Or if I don't have time, guess what, I go to my pops and I'm like, hey pops, fix this for me. And
Right?
we
Yeah,
have
and
backyard
actually,
mechanics that do the work, that do better jobs than these freaking shops, and cost a fraction of the cost.
yeah, and let me add in. I was talking with AA earlier, and the '99 Dodge Durango. I actually bought it as a parts truck for my '98, because trying to find parts for my '98 is getting to be impossible. However, whenever I paid $900 for it and $100 for the salvage guy to actually tow it to my house. Because again, it was just gonna be a parts truck. I had clean title, everything else with it. Uh, my pops, my father-in-law, he decided to come over and take a look at it. He had running first day. He had it going. Uh, we thought that the rear main seal had busted. Well, he calls me up a couple weeks ago and says, "Hey, do you think I can buy the 99 off of you?" I said, "Yeah, yeah." So I told him save him $500 on what he's usually spending. Usually spending on the car that he had. I mean, he was spending $500 a month. And I told him, I said, you know what? Take that extra 500 and put it towards this vehicle, right? Don't pay me until tax time. That way, it's not really coming out of your pocket right then. I'm not going to put you into some type of financial
A bind.
hell. Yeah. And he was excited about it. I honestly, I've never seen a man get excited as towards me like that. And I was like, "Oh, I feel good," right? uh, Whenever he got it back to his house, it comes to find out it wasn't the rear main seal. It literally had a hole in the oil filter, a little $5-6 fix. He got it to be able to drive and everything. Of course, there's some things that need to be fixed up on it because it's been sitting in a junkyard. Well, guess what? My truck needed work on it too. I went and spent $1,000 on parts for my truck and my wife's car. My father-in-law was like, "I'll take care of it." I'm like, "Really?" Uh, all right. Well, you know what? That $1,000, I'm gonna lower it down. How about 500? Then he says he's gonna do everything for my truck. I'm like, you know what? Forget the $1,000. Keep the truck. All right, it's yours. If you're going to do the work, have the truck. What he's going to do is all the new parts that I put on. There are a few pieces that I bought that I figured I would need, but he says that they're going to be fixed. They're fixable. So those new parts that I already ordered, he's going to put on his truck. Guess what?
Yeah.
No, I already had the parts on hand. I had them for months. You know what? Hey, use them. If you could fix the ones that's on there, it's original. Use the new one. But it's the fact that they don't want you to know this. I whenever I went up to the junkyard and the guy says, "Oh, we couldn't get it to start." I told him to pop the hood. They put too small of a battery in there. It wouldn't turn over. I said, "That's your problems right there." So how
Hmm.
much do you want for the truck? He says 900. I said, "I'll give you 1,000 to tow it to my house." He says, "Deal." Perfect. 2 running vehicles out of the junkyard for $2,000. Guess
Wow.
what?
Yeah.
They're easily upgradable. They're easy to maintain. My Durango has almost 300,000 miles on her engine and is still running purdy. All right. You can't do that with these newer vehicles. They get to
Yeah, like
what, like 100,000, and they're just
and
like,
die.
"Eh."
Lynn was saying that they ran all those buyback old cars to prevent people from fixing older cars and change parts so they're no longer compatible. And then they get you, then you get cars connected through subscriptions so they can prevent use when they choose. Exactly.
Oh,
They're
and also,
forcing that whole situation.
I'm going to put this out there. I'm not sponsored, so I'm going to put that out there. But if you have an older vehicle and cannot find parts, literally go to carid.com. That's where I found all the parts that, except for one. Couldn't find the steering knuckle for my 98 Dodge Durango because, yeah,
They don't make that anymore, but that's beside the
yeah.
point.
But anyways, all of the other parts that I actually needed to find, yeah, exactly. Uh, they were on there. I was able to get my entire front end assembly for what was it? I think it was like $170.
Yeah.
It's amazing. If especially with car parts, if you need, everybody knows that how bad connectors are to find, right?
Yep.
The
Little
electrical, the
pigtails.
plastic, yeah, the little pigtails, right? I kid you not. I found a website that does exactly that. It's find pig. Hang on, let me make sure. I don't want to put it out there. Let me
But
see.
see, AA is looking through for like hit like a 2012 and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But you've
Yeah.
got all the parts listed. You can find everything there, so you can do your work yourself, or if you know somebody that can do the work, that it comes in handy. I've done one of my old jobs during lunch breaks. People would have me do like their oil changes and brakes because that doesn't take me 10-15 minutes, quick and easy for me. During my lunch breaks at work, I would literally go out. They'd bring their cars, park them in the parking lot, and I'd go out and do all of the work while on lunch break, and then come back inside.
Now the website that if you ever need to find pigtails, right? Literally, it's called findpigtails.com. I kid you not. I went. My wife, her AC control module. Whenever I took it out, it had burned up. It was the original, right? The pigtail was no longer usable. The AC control module wasn't usable. So I went. I was able to get her control module, but I couldn't find the pigtail. Found this website. I went on there and I couldn't find exactly what I needed, right? Because it wasn't pulling up underneath the car. So I contacted I contacted him over the phone. The
And see,
dude
look at
literally
those
told me, he
prices,
says,
man. those aren't expensive at all.
Yeah,
No, they're not.
but I
if you
told the
went, if
dude,
you took that to a dealership, those parts would be like $700-800. My mom just had to do that for her. I think it's like a 2016 Ford, and the dealership, she had to take it so they could do the diagnostic on it because the system had a block where my dad couldn't use his diagnostic tool. They were like, oh, well, you need, the coil packs and everything like that, and that's going to cost like $1,700. My mom and dad went on like Car ID like that and stuff and found the parts. The parts were literally like $400 total. So they were about to be trying to charge $1,300 extra over the cost of the parts just to put them in, and it's not that labor intensive to change those things. So you can't tell me it's all labor costs.
Yep, and I with the findpigtails.com, I kid you not, I called him up, right? I said, hey, look, I'm looking for this pigtail for my car, and I've looked on y'all's website, and it doesn't pull it up. And dude said, asked me the information. I told him the car, year, make, model, everything. He's like, yeah, I'm not finding anything for that. Do you have a picture of it and what it connects to? I said, yeah, I do. And he sent me his number. I texted it to him. He says, oh, here you go. Of course, that pigtail had to cost me like $70, but he was able to find me the exact one. It had all of the wires needed. I didn't have to put anything in myself. Whenever it came in, all I did was strip the cover off, clamp them together. It was good to go. It's easy enough to find the stuff that you need to be able to upgrade.
But not with new cars. Man.
Yeah, not with new cars. I kid you not.
That's why they make them so complicated.
Hey, for this, go over to headlights. I want to show people this because it's crazy.
Lighting.
Yeah, see?
Yep, headlights. You just scroll down because it's going to be...
We had to buy new headlights and taillights for our Dodge, our 98
yeah.
Dodge.
So what I'm trying to show here is you can either get the original, right, or upgrade to the LEDs. You don't have to try and search for your different serial numbers, right?
Yeah.
They have them right there for you. You can either get the originals or you get you LEDs. I got the
Wow.
blackouts for my Durango.
This is
Hey,
cool.
she looking weird, but I like it. But that's the thing. And even I told my ex-wife, again, we own a 98 Dodge Durango. I think what's hers? Like a 2014?
No, hers is like a 2020. Hers
All
is
right,
pretty
so
new.
she's got like a 2020 Dodge Durango. I'll tell you right now, that Durango cannot keep up with mine.
All right, they've already had recalls and problems with it, with the motor, with the transmission.
It's actually in the shop right now because of the transmission.
Yeah, they've already had so many freaking issues with it. Meanwhile, we're over here with as somebody would look at it like a beater, an old 98 that does not look pristine by no means or anything like that. But man, that sucker just keeps on trucking. I drove it to Colorado and we took it four-wheeling in the mountains and stuff like that after only
bypassing Jeeps on an incline, all right? And I was not going slow either. I was ripping past them going up the mountain.
And again, that's because we can repair our cars. We can fix them, which is why that Right to Repair Act is such a big freaking deal, because people have the right to fix their own things or have somebody fix it that's not a dealership or the manufacturer, because the manufacturer is of course going to cost so much more.
Oh, and get this, right? You can actually go and build your own car if you wanted to, straight from the frame. No, what would it be? No title, not title. Ford, Dodge, name it, company logo. right?
Yeah.
It does not need to have a company attached to it. You could literally go and have yourself a car fabricated to your liking. It does not need any type of company logo on it. All it
Get it
needs to do
inspected
is
and it's cleared.
once it's done, you can get it inspected and then it's yours. They give you a VIN number, you put it on there, you're done.
Wow.
I've
But
actually
people
done
don't
stuff like
understand
that.
that.
I've actually done stuff like that. My dad and I, we used to take, we'd get those like old road signs, the flashing ones with like the arrows and stuff, and they
Yeah.
had the axles. We used to get those for like free or like $20. My dad and I would take those and we would turn them into flatbed trailers. We would build trailers, get them VIN inspected, and something we paid like $20 for like maybe the axle, and then maybe $70 in parts. Do all of that, weld it all together, get it VIN inspected and inspected by the state, put a VIN number on it, and then we'd sell that for like $1,000.
You got that? Guess who's back from daycare? And he got a new toy.
Ooh.
It's not going.
It's not
what?
going because he doesn't
Not
have the
going.
end of the arrow on the string, so it won't shoot.
Okay. So bit like this. All right. Yeah.
I just blew his
Have fun.
mind.
Yes,
We
like
heard
that.
But yeah, it's simple stuff like that people they don't want you to know about. You don't have to deal with these dealerships. I mean, yeah, of course it's going to cost money. But if you've got money, hey, why not go and build yourself your own car? Find a shop, a fabrication shop, right? Be like, hey, this is what I want. They could build you one. It
Dude, it's the
does not
same
have
thing
to
with,
come
like-
from a manufacturer.
It's the same thing with like computers and things like that. They didn't have the computer that I wanted to get for Chris, so what did I do? I built it with parts. I got specific parts and things like that I wanted because it was not what I wanted specifically. So I had it manufactured. I had it made to meet the specifications that I wanted it to have. But they don't advertise those things. I mean, you've got those people that out there, they build freaking PCs and cars and stuff like that. They're ridiculous, that are amazing and awesome and stuff like that, but they're never advertised.
All right. So
because you can't force obsolete them.
Which
All
I'll
right,
put
so
the link for car ID and Find Pigtails into the Discord.
in the
If anybody
Discord.
needs help with that, check it out.
Discord.
Great savings. So
Here we go. Discord. So now one question to you guys, okay? How much money do you think this bill that Trump is sponsoring or is pushing is going to cost companies that have been ripping off Americans
Billions.
for years?
It's going to cost them millions to billions of dollars.
All right,
because
so
they make so much money off of those forced repairs and things like that, those subscriptions and stuff like that nowadays, they make millions to billions off of that.
I thought Trump was on the side of the oligarchs.
I know, right? He supports all big businesses, and he wants to keep the millionaires and billionaires rich and stuff like that. But I mean, what he just passed with that right to repair is saving the common people thousands of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Thousands.
Well, he's doing a very bad job of enriching the billionaire class.
He is. He's terrible at it.
Really horrible job.
Absolutely atrocious.
They should fire him. The billionaires should fire him.
I think they've tried that already, and I'm pretty sure it failed.
Yeah, they did. All right, guys. Let's. This has been quite the show. Let's know your thoughts. The chat has been very quiet because it's not as this story isn't as emotional as the first one, and but it's important nonetheless because it's one of those stories that the mainstream media isn't talking about because it doesn't fit the narrative of Trump enriching the billionaire class. And they want to hush it up or find a way to
and stuff like that.
Yeah. So it's fine, but we're going to talk about it anyway. Like I said, I saw that signing back on June 29th when he talked about it. and right now it's gaining traction. An executive order is only valid as long as the president who signed it is in office, or if the presidents who succeed him allow the executive orders to stand. But if it's going forward to as a bill to the House and the Senate and it's passed, it is huge. So let's
And
see
it would be
if
amazing if that actually does pass.
Oh yeah. So let's see if the lobbyists don't kill it before it gets to the Senate, and let's see what they do at the House and Senate. And it tells you who
Pay
you're going to
attention to who
primary.
supports it. Yeah, pay attention to
Yeah.
who supports it and who objects it, because that tells you a lot about where their allegiances lie and whether or not they've been bought.
Yeah. So I know we're going to be looking into this as it develops, and they're going to try to hide it. They're going to try to slip in the votes when there's a big hullabaloo in Iran or Ukraine. They're going to say, "Hey, look over there. Hey, let's do this real quick before they notice."
Exactly.
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 That's what they're going to do.
Or they're going to pull like the whole, Taylor Swift got divorced or some crap like that. We got to have some big celebrity scandal or
Yeah.
some other nonsense to completely distract.
Every time, like for me, here's my policy. Every time they scream and say, "Hey, look over there," my first impression
Turn
is,
and look for the small stuff.
What don't they want us to see?
Yep.
And it's a healthy thing to do. It's healthy to be paranoid because that's basically how they've done things for decades. All right, guys, it's 2 hours. I did not succeed at keeping this at under an hour.
Dude, the first story took us an hour and a half, almost an hour 45.
Yeah, well,
it was a big deal, though.
The first story I thought was going to be a non-starter. I thought it was more like, okay, hey, look at the crazy people sending this crazy person money for murdering her kids. But listening to the story and watching it, and honestly, I like to enter into these live streams not knowing so much about the videos we're about to watch, because it's good for the audience to see us literally struggle with these things and come up with, okay, here's the common sense look at this, even though it's messy and we don't know how to handle it in a neat way, but they need to see that, because this isn't made up, okay? It's not made up. Someone literally told me on one of my old videos that I was overreacting, that he knows that I've seen the video before. I'm like, no, I literally just watched this video. So
and I also think that first story, it hit a lot harder too, because you did have like Lynn and I that have experienced things like that. So it's real honest experience of that. And, Chris that's dealt with it, Tony that's dealt with it, you possibly, things like that, like from the men's perspective, but then also the women's perspective.
Yes.
Because I know I've said it before, a lot of these live streams and things like that do not have the women's perspective on things. And I understand that there are a lot of women that are not like me, not like Lynn, not like, that little bit more grounded. Yes, we're emotional creatures, but we're a little more grounded in logic for these things, to really get that female perspective on this stuff. Because, I mean, it's completely different. Like I said, I'll never understand entirely the way men think, and men can never understand entirely the way women think. Like, it's just biology. It's the way we're programmed. We're not meant to completely understand the other.
Yeah. And one more flavor to this position that you just exposed. It's also good to have the perspective of someone who doesn't vote the same way you do.
Yes.
And having a very honest, good faith conversation around the issues. And
I mean, even you heard Chris and I didn't agree on all of it. We were disagreeing. We're married. We sleep in the same bed next to each other.
And you don't
we disagree.
Exactly. And you don't agree on everything. And that's why I said the world is going through a mental health epidemic, because people now believe that you have to agree on 100% of everything on every issue.
Those women that were divorcing their husbands because they voted for Trump, and those people cutting off family because they didn't vote the same. Like, that's ridiculous.
That is retarded.
My sister-in-law is
Wait a minute. Hey, I just said the R word.
right? But
YouTube overlords aren't gonna like you for that one.
but like my sister-in-law is liberal, like is super liberal. Okay, as you can clearly tell, I am not. I'm not. My brother that she is married to is not. So we disagree on a lot of
Mm,
things, but that's still family. We still talk about it. We still debate it.
yeah,
And when we understand that, like I even did with Chris, when we understood that there's no way the conversation is going to continue forward in any kind of beneficial or constructive manner. Okay, we'll just stop because clearly that's
yeah,
our agreeing to disagree.
yeah. And you move on with your life.
Yeah.
You don't cut people off. You don't call them evil. You just say, here's your point, and you're able to articulate your position. We agree to disagree. I didn't call you evil or retarded. You didn't call
I
me a
didn't divorce
Nazi.
him.
Yeah.
I
So
did threaten to choke her out.
yeah,
So.
yeah. So you know, I really hope that we can literally have some of these conversations. We've done some of that on old live streams where someone jumps in the chat and tries to derail the conversation, but we eventually have a good faith debate, even though I'm sure they didn't change their minds, and that's one of the reasons why online debates for me really don't move the needle, because I don't think people really change their minds based on debate or being proven wrong. But I think it gives them something to go back and think about if they do go back and think about things. So I'm really glad we were able to look at this story. It was a human story. I honestly really feel horrible for the family, and even the lady that Lindsay. Like, it's a horrible place to be where your mind is not your own, and
Yeah.
you just do something that you can't take back. Her life essentially is over. That, like, I don't know how she's going to come back from that. Her
She won't.
marriage is over,
She
so
won't come
it's
back from that, honestly. I mean,
yeah,
honestly, there's no coming back from that. It's always going to be there in the back of her mind. It's going to
mm,
flare at random points in time. And the same thing for that husband, the father, the
yeah,
ex-husband. Like it's always going to be there. Like he's going to close his eyes and see his babies on the floor.
yeah,
Even though he's married now, he's trying to live his life, trying to move on and stuff like that. He's now catching grief for that. His new wife is catching grief for it. And I mean, all she had was what? She loved the man, and now she's
yeah.
catching hell. So I mean,
Um,
it's they're all everybody involved in that situation is dealing with something truly tragic and horrific.
yeah. All right, guys. We were hoping to come at you with a story that would be lighthearted and some laughter. We did get some laughs in, but um, conscious of the gravity of the story, we had to handle for 90 minutes. And you let us know in the comments section what you think about how we handled it. And if you have any stories that you feel we should look into during tomorrow's live stream, again, we live stream at 3 p.m. Eastern. Let us know in the Discord. Link to the Discord. I did promise that I was going to share the link to the Discord.
Yes, so make sure you drop it in
So
I
there.
expect to
let
see
me.
you in the Discord.
Yes.
Come to me.
And again, reach out, check on your friends, your family, your peoples, your coworkers, even a stranger. If you see them struggling, reach out. You could be the person that saves their lives.
Yeah, so I'm
Okay.
getting the link to the Discord to everyone in the chat. Just come in, hang out, send ideas, send thoughts.
Even if it's a funny
Eventually,
video you want to talk about, because we've had those too.
oh
Even
my
if it's just
goodness, we
something,
love those
what I
funny
do,
we love those
what
funny
I do.
videos.
So,
She's talking about the what I do. What I do.
All right. It's in poor taste for me to play that clip because I'm sure it's queued somewhere on my screen. But we can, yeah. So just send in stuff that you think we would all love to see, and we're looking forward to seeing you in the Discord. Join it; it's fun. The Discord is literally fun, and it's going to get more interesting as time goes on. All right,
Oh,
guys.
also for local areas, if y'all have a story that's going on that like
Yes.
the media is not putting out there, please send that in, because I'll tell you right now, I am an information digger. All right. I will dig up anything. I've dug up
And
crap from the past.
and even
So
if the
let
channel's
me
not
know.
huge, the live stream's not huge or anything like that, getting it out there, it helps. So if it's a local issue that you're dealing with, and your city's dealing with, your town's dealing with, and it's not getting the attention it needs, every little bit of attention helps. So even if we hear it on the live streams don't have a buttload of people watching, all it takes is that one right person to see it. Okay.
Yeah.
So
All right, guys. So we're going to be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Whatever is going on in the news might surface, or we might find out something that we missed over the last few months and be able to catch up on why we missed it and why things happened the way they did. We love doing those retrospectives because I'll be honest with you guys. I don't think I like breaking news much because breaking news leaves out all of the details. In fact, you don't know everything, and you're like, breaking news, this crazy thing happened, and then a few weeks later, it's like, oh, that's what happened. This wasn't.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
So
breaking news: there was an arson at the mall. Oh, never mind. That was just an electrical fire. Never mind. Never mind. We
All right.
exactly.
panicked you for
Now I
nothing.
got to do it. Breaking news. Bikers are headed to Dearborn, Michigan. So keep an eye on that one.
Bikers.
Yes.
So which ones? Hell's Angels?
It looks like it.
Jeez. Oh man. Well, I guarantee you, state troopers are going to be deployed, and then
Oh, no,
leftists
big
are going to
No,
say
because we're
the white
defunding.
supremacists
No,
are
because
heading
we're
that
defunding the
way.
police. We're defunding the police. They can't respond. We need to send out counselors.
Yes.
Sorry.
Oh my. All right. The Southern goodbye is over. Let's keep an eye on the situation in Michigan, because I'm sure that nothing's going to happen.
Nothing at all.
There's nothing to see there.
We won't
Yeah.
nothing will be instigated and blown out of proportion.
No,
Never.
no. But no one is going to be called a white supremacist. No one's going to be called a danger to
Islamophobic or any of that stuff.
Islamophobia.
No.
No. They're going to hold hands and sing Kumbaya, eat bacon together.
Right? BLTs for everyone.
Have a good day, Lynn. All right. The Southern goodbye is
Lynn.
over. All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Hickox and Hickox Dragon, you guys are amazing. As always, you make the show interesting. I'm sure the fans enjoyed this. They tolerated us for 2 hours, which is interesting. That means they love us and they like hanging out with us. So, guys, thank you so much. And again, I have a button and I'm not afraid to use it. So you guys rock. And the lurkers who watched and didn't say anything, we appreciate you. We'll be back again tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern. We love you and we hope to see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.